Make sure we're good on. Get this going on Instagram here.
Okay. Mm, mm, mm.
Oh, this is so fire. Looks good on the gram there. Excuse me. All right.
Mm. I'll have to um I'll have to give you some of my cheat codes because I have. Well, we'll talk about it later. But
Yeah. Hey, I'm here for all the cheat codes, but all right, yeah, all right, cool. Check, check, check. We got audio. We can hear each other. We're get this cord out of the way here. All right, let me get into this intro, and then we're just gonna get it started. What is good, y'all? Welcome to Culture Shift with Raven50mm, where we are reimagining radio and podcasting by merging the two together for immaculate vibes while leveraging blockchain and Web3 tools to experiment with monetization and distribution methods. This is brought to you by the Legacy Portrait Project and the 50mm Collective. The 50mm Collective is a community of BIPOC, trans, and queer digital artists and allies that work together as we pioneer Web3 and NFTs. The 50mm Collective has a YouTube channel with tutorials and helpful info on how to get a NFT and crypto wallet set up and get started with archiving your artwork on the blockchain. The Legacy Portrait Project is a mission based endeavor aimed at empowering BIPOC, trans, and queer individuals. In a world often marked by adversity, the Legacy Portrait Project strives to create a haven for storytelling, utilizing visionary tools like future framing, visualization, and AR technology to uplift marginalized voices. Legacy portraits are still photographs that come to life with video narration, sharing the subject's story from their perspective. The Legacy Portrait Project's mission goes beyond capturing moments in time. It's about fostering human connection, advancing social change, driving socioeconomic empowerment, and ensuring the legacy of each subject is forever memorialized on the blockchain. Right now, the Legacy Portrait Project is running a raffle for three people to win $1,000 off their first Legacy Portrait. You can sign up for that at legacyportraitproject.com/contact. Today is an incredible day because we got Black Dave joining us today. How you doing? How you feeling, Black Dave?
uh, I'm good. Every day alive is a blessing, so I'm good. I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy. Like I can get on the internet. Like you know what I'm saying? Like come on. Like life is good. I'm on the internet. Like you know how people can't get on the internet. I know it's not a lot anymore, but it's still a lot. So I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, and that is very very true. Like I think sometimes we can because it's so accessible. Some for us here, we can kind of take that a little bit for granted. But God bless the internet. God bless you, Black Dave. Thank you for joining us. A little intro for Black Dave here. First and foremost, Black Dave is a legend, but we're going to get more into that in a little bit here. But Black Dave is a recording artist, producer, engineer, and artist focused on both traditional and non traditional means of promoting his artwork. Having established himself through the use of blockchain and NFT technology, Dave is known to be a multidisciplinary creative, citing anime, rap, hardcore rock, streetwear, and sneaker culture as influences for his work. As a child, he spent many years unknowingly watching anime with his grandmother before formally discovering it through the cult anime Berserk. A proud native of Charleston, South Carolina, Black Dave played bass and produced in several bands ranging from punk to metalcore, moving to rap music in 2014 with his first mixtape, Owl Eyes Part 2. His music experiments with creating an intersection at rap, rock, and lo-fi, and in 2020 he recorded and released a 3-song EP each month. Wow, look at that work. Since 2021, Black Dave has been placing a lot of focus in Web3 and NFT technology, creating art, music, and experiences using technology, making the NFT 100 list in 2022, among many, many, many other successes. Black Dave, thank you for joining us on Culture Shift. Really appreciate you. And I'm just going to get right into the first question, especially after that intro. And what sparked your career as an artist?
Okay. I feel like it started long before I probably realized. Like, you know, when you're a kid, the what you want to do when you grow up thing is like always super practical. Um, I played sports and then I got into skateboarding. Professional skateboarding would have been cool, but I wasn't like good at it, or like I was maybe too afraid to hurt myself or whatever. But I skated like diligently, like every day for years and years and years. And um, I jumped on my skateboard the other day. I'm definitely too old, but it is what it is. Um, but I think coming out of high school probably was like the time period. In high school, I started playing in bands, and around the time I was like 20, 21, I had like gone on tour-ish with this one band, and we'd gone to record and do all this stuff. And I was like, "Oh, this could be cool." Like, I like making music. It would be cool to make music for a lot of people or whatever. Um, and around that time as well, I was getting super into streetwear. I'd started my first clothing brand. Um, I right after that had gotten like into photography and stuff like that. But I feel like the version of me that exists now, in terms of, like, what I might view as success, probably didn't really pop up until, like, 2011, 2012. Like, I was, like, mid-20s, um, seeing, like, Pyrex from Virgil, seeing, ASAP Mob, seeing just, like, all these different intersections of people who are making music who are also influential in, like, fashion, who are also influential in, like, directing and styling and blah, blah, blah. I feel like that was when I started to see, like, the pathway a bit more, like, it was a little bit more real or whatever. And so, um, I think that's kinda when it started, and then I just was like, "I wanna make stuff that I think is cool." Um and that's still the goal, and that's always the goal. So, that's kinda how it started. I think, artist is such a artist is a great catch-all, you know, for everything, but I know that people also, um, sometimes like to be recognized for their specific art, but I'm definitely like a broad art vibes, type beat because I do so many things. I hope that's a solid enough answer.
Oh, absolutely. That was perfect. Um, can you can you talk about like what are some of your, because you do a lot of exploring and creating, and that's one of my favorite things about just like how you practice is because you're so involved in so many different things, you have all of these pockets of knowledge. And are there certain aspects of your process and your creativity that draw you, that are more apparent and more, because I feel like too, as artists sometimes we got to do a lot of things out of necessity to like get our work out there and et cetera, et
Mhm.
cetera. So like what are your like your mediums that where you're practicing artistically, and then the things to where it's like I got to do this as a um, promotional thing, or as part of just like the career aspect, the business aspect of being an artist.
So I started my first clothing brand in 2011. It was called The Comeback, with an exclamation point at the end. And it was all one word, it was all lowercase. You know, it was like really Tumblr aesthetic vibes. And I had shot a lookbook with one of my friends, and I didn't like the lookbook. Uh, I didn't like the video, I didn't like the photos.
The friend shot
Um,
it. You're saying
yeah, the
with
friend
okay,
shot it, yeah.
okay.
I didn't do all that. So th that like, the end of that year, I bought a camera. So well, the next year in 2012, I bought a camera, and I got into photography, like, super heavy. And, for many years, I was like, "Yeah, I just wanna, like, shoot lookbooks for streetwear brands." I was really into, like, there's this photographer, he's actually in Web3 somewhat. His name's Stefan Vanasco, he used to go by Van Styles. Um, and his whole thing at the time, like, in streetwear culture, was he used to direct porn, and so he would shoot porn stars in streetwear, and I thought that was the coolest idea. And so what I did essentially was like just like shot hot girls in cool clothes. So it's like I would just be like, "Yo, I have this 10 Deep t-shirt. Yo, I have this Jordan jersey." My sister was a sneakerhead, so I would like take her shoes and like I would that's what I did for a few years and then like obviously like that aesthetic became the Instagram girl or whatever. But like, before that, that's what I was doing. That was, like, my bread and butter. Like, I was making money, like, shooting photos, and I think that started out as, like, a necessity, and I had, like, a perspective that I wanted to put out because it was like, I know creatives hate this where it's like, they're on the mood board, but you don't hire them kind of vibes, but that was kind of what I just had to do because I didn't have any money, and so, I literally, like, bought, like, the base level, like DSLR camera at the time. I had a Nikon D5100. I gave it to my sister recently. Um, and yeah, that's just what I had to do. And then from there I got into video. I had learned how to design my own websites. If you're my age, like millennial age, a lot of kids learned how to code from MySpace profiles. Um, and so I'm kinda of that. I wasn't really coding my own MySpace profile. I was cool with the default joint. Um, and and I learned how to do, like, graphic design from, making t-shirts and stuff. Everything I think was, like, necessary, but it felt like the more things I was able to do, the more I was able to control the vision a bit. Because I feel like everything I'm doing comes from, like, this hyper specific, like, I was inspired by this specific thing, and I really need to get that off, and if I hand that to someone else, because that's what happened, like, the first lookbook was, like, hot girls, cool clothes, and it was just, like, not the girls were hot, the clothes were cool, but the photos didn't translate that, and so, yeah, it's just I think almost every skill I have now is based out of necessity. Even like I record myself, I make a lot of my own beats. I do all the mixing and mastering, like and the other day I tweeted that like this stuff isn't designed to be a flex. It's just that, you know, it needs to get done. I edit my own videos, I take my own pictures, I edit them, like whatever. So um everything that I think was a necessity, I tried to turn into part of the, the art or the brand or whatever, um, and so I think one of the biggest compliments I can receive as a creative person is when multiple mediums still speak like me. So, like, if someone says like, "Oh, that photo looks like you. Oh, that design looks like you. That song sounds like you," whatever, biggest compliment is just, like, seeing that my single language can translate across different mediums. So, yeah.
I like that. I like that. That end response of like being able to translate your style, like who is Black Dave, across like your design elements, your music, your photography. That's that's a special kind of skill, and your work does translate through that. And as it's I was going through some of your work, and um there's always such a relevance of pop culture in, like, I'm the flips in your single cover artwork and your album cover artwork. And I'm wondering, because you had mentioned anime and how that plays a heavy role in your inspiration, and we see that as a common theme throughout your artwork too. And can you speak a little bit more to, in your bio, you had mentioned unknowingly watching anime with your grandmother early on before formally discovering it. And can you speak a little bit to uh, that experience, and then how that later on came to be more relevant in your artwork that you were creating?
Yeah, so I started like, Saturday morning cartoons, so, like, right after Saturday morning cartoons, like, 11, 12 o'clock, like, when your parents are trying to make you go outside and shit, like, the Sci-Fi Channel, it was called back then, like, um, they would play anime. And so you would end up watching like Ninja Scroll or like some other like way too adult for you anime. stuff on it, and back then they called it Japanimation, and so it wasn't even like that was like MTV had a thing called Japanimation where they played like Aeon Flux and like the Max and like these a few different anime shows. And then Toonami picked up in like what like '03 maybe. Um and that was like when Dragon Ball Z was coming on, Sailor Moon, et cetera, et cetera. So in '99, when the Dreamcast had come out, I had rented this game called Sword of the Berserk Guts Rage, and I bought it recently, like last year, for like $65 or something. So like vintage gaming or whatever is so cool now. So everything's so expensive. Um, and so I bought the game and I was looking it up online because like Dreamcast had like a web browser in it. It was like really the first system with like a full-on web browser. And Sega's my system. Like Sega Dreamcast is the best video game system to this day. I don't care what anyone says. And um, so from that, I had learned that there was like a manga and like this whole story and all this stuff around Berserk. And I had learned about anime through researching the game. And then from there, it was like, oh, like this is a whole thing. And I just thought like Japanimation was just like a cartoon a Japanese dude made, which it is, but you don't realize that it's like a whole lifestyle, it's a whole culture, it's a whole thing. And back then I was like in eighth, ninth grade, maybe eighth grade. And so that was, I think, the jumping off point for me of really recognizing anime formally. And then as I continued to like make music, so like the first band that I had done vocals for in like 2005, it was like a electronic hardcore band. Most of those songs are about video games, or anime. So like there was a song that was all about a Pokemon battle. There was like a song that like referenced like sword fighting in samurai movies. And then when I started rapping, it was the exact same thing. So like from my first tape, I was already rapping about anime. I was already putting anime samples in my music. I was already putting like kung fu movie samples. I was already like rapping about anime, like using real references. Um, so even like I feel like sometimes when like someone tries to get me to rap on the spot, I'll just rap one of those old verses because they're just like they're still anime verses, even though they're like 10 years old at this point. And so that's kind of where it came from, but it's always been in everything, and I feel like I was never someone who was trying to separate that different aspects of my life, because I feel like, everything you are makes you who you are, and so everything you're into or whatever, and so that was always it, was like, I used my tastes to define my work. Um, I I like I know that artists do this, but I always use the word work instead of art, and I don't know if that's, like, what I'm supposed to be doing, and I feel like there's probably some, psychological thing about the use of the word art versus the use of the word work, and probably, like, context and stuff like that, but that's, like, the anime foundation for me.
Thanks for sharing that. And I I I feel you on the art versus work. I combine the
What
two.
do you
I
say?
say
You say
artwork.
both?
Yeah, I say
You say
artwork.
artwork?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I don't do that. I never say artwork, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
because I felt that kind of like same way. I was like art, but it is my work, and even though I'm having like a freaking amazing time doing all of this stuff, it's still work. And so I'm like,
Yeah, it's still work.
I gotta put that respect on it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like artwork, and so I combine the two together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never say, artwork feels to me like someone who's outside of both talking about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if a writer is like writing about it, they're like, I love the artwork. But like if an artist is talking about that, they're like, I love the work. But if like someone who doesn't do art but isn't formally writing about it, they're like, oh, what great art. And it's like it's so weird because it's definitely perspective based, but it's like um artwork feels like academic almost, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
Um but I think that makes people take it more seriously. That's sick. Yeah, I really like I don't know what it is. I really want to like deep dive on that, but I have no clue. Like that's
Yo,
so funny that you say artwork and I say work.
yeah, and the
Yeah, that's
fact that
crazy.
like, and I'm wondering too, like, as we have artists in the Twitter space listening, like, what that thought process is like for other people too. Because I'm like, are other people even? I never even thought to think, are other people thinking about this until you just said that, and now we're having like this exchange of like artwork. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I overthink every detail of everything. What's funny is like I was talking to my friend before this, and I was like, I'm gonna go on this, and I'm not gonna remember anything I said after it's over, but everything's gonna sound like me. It's just like as long as I don't lie, it's cool. And then like I realize as I'm doing these, I always leave like these like little bits of thoughts that are like, that was interesting. The idea of art versus work versus artwork. Um, and I'll remember it like in like 3 weeks. I'm like, yeah, what do you think about the word art versus like out of nowhere? So, but I'll forget this conversation in like 10 minutes after it's over and be like, oh, I'm like, oh, I talked to Raven. I don't know what we talked about though. Like that's what'll happen. So that's crazy.
that's super relatable, and because like same, and the only way like I'm able to remember these is watching them back, and because I got to go back and edit sometimes and that kind
Hmm.
of thing. But um, when that pops up again, if you do remember the conversation, hit me and be like, "Yo, remember what we was talking about? It came up to the."
Listen, I've said stuff that have become like the whole point of a podcast episode or like titled like I do this one podcast and it was like I was this was like a moment too, like it was something I was talking about a lot of this idea of like valuing creative people based on like how you see them and not where they are in that moment. And we talked about it for maybe like 5 minutes, 10 minutes in the conversation, and he like named the whole podcast after that because it was like the way I said it, like valuing creatives on like their, I don't remember, like on their possibility or whatever. And like I went back and I was listening to it and I was like, I said that? And I was like, I did. And I remember thinking about it a lot. And so sometimes you'll catch me like in a moment of being really into a specific idea or concept, and I'll forget that idea or concept or like expand on it or whatever, and then I'll be like, I did say that, but I still think I was saying valuing artists based on their potential. So it's like, um, I'm sure you have specific questions, but it's kind of like Web3 makes this make a lot of sense where like a lot of people are looking at a lot of new artists and new creatives and discovering their work for the first time and learning about them and stuff like that. But like you know that this isn't their final form, right? And so the type of work that you're looking at and wanting to get into and wanting to buy and stuff like that, you kind of want to like buy music or buy art from an artist who isn't going to quit, right? And you want to buy music and art from artists who's going to get better. And so like if you're looking at work or art or artwork from someone, um you really like sometimes it's like that work itself isn't the thing, but you recognize the potential. And so you're supporting the potential of an artist just as much as you're supporting the specific work, art. And so like I think it's super interesting to look at the things that people make and try to see the potential of what that person who made it could be. And so that was like I still love that concept. Yeah.
No, I, yo, you're cooking right now. That's because no, for real, like Web3. I'm telling, like it's different. It's a different because of like the tech and the use cases and all of these just different components that are involved here. That is so true, and you articulate it. So like I try to say what you just said in so many words, but it don't come out the like. That's why we need you, Black Dave. Like we need you to articulate these kinds of things because like yes, you have to. There are so many artists who are thinking in that same wave, and we're making things that are beyond just the artwork. Like we're creating, whether it be new systems, new structures. We're like innovating in these crazy kinds of ways with these tools. And so like the artwork is literally just like one vehicle. And like we got 10 car garage type shit, it's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
one car that I'm gonna take this one out today and go and like try to be a vehicle of change with this one vehicle. And
Hmm.
in Web3, there are we got a couple of different vehicles we can use and explore. And yeah, you said that just so perfectly. Before we move on from the anime, because I have some of your single artwork cycling through here from manga. I hope I'm
Yeah,
I'm saying that correctly.
it's manga is what people who don't read manga say.
Manga, thank you. Pronunciation matters, yo. Like
Hey,
words
I
mean
mean it,
things.
but it's so interesting because like you saying manga lets me know like your depth in it automatically. It's not. I don't even think it's wrong. I think it's American, right? Like
Oh yeah.
you know, like I don't think it's wrong. I just think it's American, and so it's like I feel like once you get past a certain point, you're like, I gotta say this the Japanese way, you know. And so
Word,
I think
word.
that's like I'm the pretentious asshole. You're a regular person, so shouts out to you.
Well, and I'm just not. I'm gonna be straight up. Anime. That's not my bag of tricks.
Yeah.
There. That's like. But I have deep respect because I know. Don't see, and I'm gonna sound like so.
No, I'm ready.
The
I
only
got your
anime
back.
I've
I'm gonna
really.
support you, whatever you say.
I love you. I appreciate you, dog.
Hey,
The only anime that I've tuned into is Hunter vs Hunter,
that's
and
a good one.
oh, and that makes me want to go experience more. I just don't even know like where to begin. Anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent here, but while we're on the on the concept and talking about anime, can you speak to the process of how you create how you went about creating the covers for manga? Did I say it right
Yeah.
that time?
So, yeah, yeah, yeah. So some of them are like flips. Some of them are rips. Some of them are like redraws. Some of them are AI. Some of them are all these different things. Something I picked up early on from like and this is I want to preface this is regular creative director shit, but something I picked up specifically from Kanye and Virgil was like a laptop full of images, right? And like just having folders on folders on folders of stuff. And so as I read manga, I save good looking um like frames to my computer. So I have like a folder full of manga panels and so sometimes when I'm going through and looking for a song, I'll pull a manga panel and then I'll kind of like design it up to make it look like something that feels like my vibe. And that's a lot of times how I land where I land. So one thing you'll notice about a lot of my covers is that most of them are manga and they're not actually colored in. They're normally just like the lines and then I'm doing other things with it. Um a lot of the ones that are full color are normally AI generated, um which uh I understand the frustration around AI, especially for people who draw. Um, but I also see it as like a tool that really powers up what I'm able to do individually. And like for me personally, I'm really interested in working with the artists who inspire me more than I am interested in creating my own work that is inspired by them. If that makes sense. Like I feel like a lot of people who like are like, oh, I'm killing like fucking Steven Spielberg with my AI video. It's like you don't want to work with Steven Spielberg instead. Like why kill him when you can like work with him? And so for me, it's like I understand that right now I can't afford, to work with Boichi or Oda or whoever, right? Like, but I can create works that inspire me that hopefully doesn't disrespect them. Um, but can still tell my story. And so for me it's a mix of different things. Definitely like I think more than anything, I think that it's curation in a sense. Obviously, some people can call it theft, some people can call it like AI bullshit or whatever, but I think about all of it as curation. I think that the reason that I have a style is because I have a specific taste. And so without my taste, I wouldn't land where I do with anything I make.
Very well said. Yeah, you do have a very like I was saying, like you're and it's we have to acknowledge the fact that we can recognize your work across the blockchain, like across this new ecosystem. Like I can be scrolling or go on wherever you're minting your work and be like, yeah, that like your work would stand out. Like I'm to the point where I'm like, yup, that's Black Dave. Yup. Or like your hands are on it in some
Hmm.
way. And yeah, that is like that's goals. That is I feel like that's like as an artist, that's what you're striving to get towards. So then, you know, you're you're global. Like you get that you start to be recognizable without even having to like be a face. So essentially, like your work is like going beyond you
Yeah,
in a sense. Yeah. So
yeah, I appreciate that. And it's like it seems inspired by a thought by me, or like it seems inspired by something that I may have done, the same way that like I am so inspired by things that other people have done or thoughts by other people. And so like I always say that one of my biggest goals is to like continue the story of the people who inspired me, and to like inspire kids to do whatever they want. So hopefully like if there's some kid out there especially who like is into anime and is black and hasn't been able to fully find the vehicle to like combine the two or combine that with rap music or whatever. And I know like anime is way cooler now than it was in 1999, but like that's always been the goal. We can't let like Megan the Stallion carry the whole anime torch by herself. Like I'm just as poppin'. I already got my college degree, so like, I was a little bit ahead of her. So let's go. But yeah, 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 that's definitely a thing.
yo, that's facts. There can be more than one. Let's just say that.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And there's no competition in your authenticity. So if you rolling in your authenticity, that's meant for you. That is for you. Um, I have a couple more questions here for you, Black Dave, before we start to wrap it up. This has been a super dope conversation. I really appreciate you taking the time,
Of
energy
course.
to come and join us on Culture Shift here. Um, what's something that you're currently excited about, whether it be personally, professionally, culturally? What's something that you're excited about currently?
I feel like we're really stepping into the realm where the world accepts that creatives aren't just a single thing, especially rappers. Like, I was watching, the Vince Staples, Vince Staples show just came out. Make sure you go watch that, it's genius. Um, and he was talking about like the whole idea of like rappers doing more than rap, but he had gone as far back as talking about like Will Smith and Queen Latifah and like Jay-Z in business and like all these different things. I thought that was super interesting, because normally it's super hard to cross over. It doesn't make sense to regular people when you start crossing over. um but I feel like a lot of the doors are really getting blown off in that sense. And I think that people are interested in like not as big people doing it, right? Like Tyler the Creator today, like just announced that Louis Vuitton collection. Pharrell is the creative director over there after Virgil. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like stuff happening where being a rapper, people understand that it comes with like a series of skills that isn't just putting words on a sheet of paper, and like a series of like cultural influence and cultural understanding and taste, that is more than just writing words on a sheet of paper. The words on the sheet of paper is a result of all of the other things, right? And so I feel like we're entering that era in a really big way. I know that a lot of people aren't excited about the state of rap music broadly, like in terms of superstars and stuff like that. But I feel like a lot of creatives are stepping into themselves and doing it in a way that covers more than just music. And so I'm pumped for that as somebody who's been trying to multidiscipline his way through for the last decade or more. couple of decades, shit. And so that's like what I'm super, super pumped about. And uh I'm also like coming up on this coming up in the next like bull market, like in Web3 or whatever. Um I'm feeling ready to compete with the best of them. You know what I'm saying? And I think I always was ready, but I think that I this might be the era where I can really start to claim some of those spots. I think that a lot of people kind of shy away from like being noisily competitive or like outwardly competitive. I was in the Black Dave token chat, I was talking about how like I'm not always happy for people when they win. Like, like sometimes I'm mad because I know how fire I am. It has nothing to do with like me not being happy for them. It's just like I don't really care about what happened to you. It should have been me. Like whatever, you know? And I feel like uh not enough people can recognize that in a non-malicious way. Like um in my intro I talk about being on the NFT 100. In 2023 I didn't make the list. But everybody else who made rap music made the list. I was mad as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Or and so for me, it's like I recognize and I'm pumped to see the homies do well, the culture do well broadly, but it should have been me. I should be there. You know, it's like I'm as good as y'all. I'm as smart as y'all. I make as good music as y'all. Like, and so sometimes like I get really, really, really excited about competing with the people at the top. And I think that my season for that is coming. Where you're talking about me in the same breath as your favorite founders and other Web3 endeavors, as opposed to just thinking that I'm a guy who talks trash on the internet about people who make NFTs and music NFTs and stuff like that. So that's like I think what I'm personally excited about is just like being able to play the game, like play in the NBA and not in the G League, right? Which the G League is I can't beat them either in basketball. So so yeah, I just that's where I'm at.
I wish I had some sound effects to go off on. I'm getting there, but like yo, I would be like air horn, round of applause, all that because facts yo like you have been the one since day one, truly like just holding the torch for so many creatives to just it's oh man, I don't even know how to put it in words. Like you've really paved the way for people to you've put in the work not only creatively but also just to like help folks. And so we are speaking that into existence. 2024 is the year of Black Dave. He's coming with the best of them because he is the best of them. Like I'm excited to see that come to fruition and start to be like, go ahead and drop that list again, NFT now or whoever did that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Those are my dogs, by the way. Like
yeah,
I
it's
rock
it.
with them, and like I feel like too. Like I always tell people, like I know people dog NFT now just because like they're like the mainstream vibes, but like back back in 2021 when no one gave a shit about black people and NFT now was just getting started, they pulled up on us and they showed out, like they made sure they always represented what we had going on. Like I feel like obviously if you're somebody who like doesn't give a shit about identity, then which is like mostly just like white dudes or whatever, but like if you don't care about identity, then it's like obviously this looks crazy, right? Like it's Black History Month right now and it's like obviously it looks crazy. Like I've only seen two Black History Month things happen this whole month. And it's like looking at that, it's not like I'm saying it's not like I'm saying give me a job because I'm black. I'm saying give me a chance because I'm black because you weren't giving me a chance before. And I think a lot of people get caught up in this like diversity, equity, inclusion stuff that like people look at companies, they're like, look, they hired, a million bajillion black people and no white people, and now the company's going down. DEI is bullshit. I don't care. Like, I just want to be able to be like in the same room so I can show you I'm better than them or I'm as good as them or whatever. I can do the thing. And so NFT now always showed up in that way. They were like one of the first like like publications really write about me. Them, like the blockchain with Sean, like very few people was really, really rocking with me, even though like I was onboarding like thousands of people in the Clubhouse era. And so it's like I I always fuck with them. It's not a knock that I didn't make the list in 2023, even though I should have. It's just that you know, yeah, this time around I want people to like it's like I'm a Frank D. God stan, right? Like I'm that level already. Like y'all just won't give me the stage for it. And that's how I feel, right? Like I feel like all the biggest founders in Web3, like y'all gave them the stage, but if y'all gave me that same stage, I can play the same game. And I know that's like I normally don't talk like that much, but like that's how I feel all the time. Like everything I'm doing, everything I've done, all the ideas I've had, music and outside of music. I've spoken on panels. I've done interviews, podcasts, blah blah. Like I'm out here, like yeah, that's the 2024 energy for sure. It's just like I'm out here, like y'all gonna see me, whether you want to or not. So yeah,
Amen to that. I'm hearing on time for all of that.
yeah,
All
that's a
of
lot of energy.
that, bruh. Keep that energy. Keep it up. We in February. We got 10 more months to go of the year. Keep that energy all year, truly, because like more artists need that energy coming into the like. You know what I'm saying? We've been
Yeah,
here putting in the work, putting in the time, like bringing people together and sharing knowledge, like truthfully, and that like to sit there and onboard people and like break stuff down.
you were there back then. You already know.
Dog, what? That is the Lord's work. Like, true. Like, you got to sit there and meet people where they're at, and maybe they don't know this part of the internet, so you got to explain this part of
Yeah.
the internet. Bruh,
You know
okay.
how many times I explained that dang MetaMask Fox to people? People will be like, yo, the fox is following my mouse cursor around. I'm like, yeah, it's just like a design feature. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's not watching you. Like, I'm sorry. Like, yeah. It's cool though. Like, cause it's like, if my goals are to inspire people, then I obviously got to teach them along the way. And like, patience is one of my best qualities. So I tell my girlfriend all the time, I'm like, look, I don't got much, but I got patience. So let's just like do that. So yeah.
Oh man, this is I got a couple more two more questions here, and then we're gonna wrap it
Yeah,
up.
run it up. I'm sorry I talk so much.
Yo, don't apologize. This is what this is for. Like, it's literally just if it's just a conversation. Like, really, this is me and you. Whoever want to tune in, appreciate y'all for pulling up, kind of thing. Actually, I got to shout out the Black Chain because they're in here. What's good with y'all? I know that Sean behind
Shout
that
out Sean.
all day. Go check out Proof of Culture. Sean's been working on Proof of Culture podcast. We got to plug that real quick. Shout out Sean. They have been consistent with that, and every episode has been fire. I've listened to every episode, and I'm like, yo, dog, for what? I'm over here taking notes. Like,
Sean is mad underrated. I think like um it's Sean's one of those people, and it's so funny because I feel like I ran into somebody else who like tries to give Sean energy, but it's not. Cause like on the low, I don't really know what Sean does, right? Like on the low, like I don't know what Sean does, but I know when Sean shows up and talks about things and writes about things and presents things, it's always at this level where I'm like, hold on, what does Sean do? I don't know, right? But I'm always like, hold on. And I feel like there's like this level of like care and depth and like in the presentation of what Sean does with the blockchain, especially, that I'm like, yeah, this is how someone sees someone, right? Like if say I feel seen or whatever, like Sean really makes sure that that's always done in a really high quality, really authentic way. But yeah, like if someone was like, oh, what's Sean do? I was like, I think Sean just like got money and like cares about art and cares about black. I don't know. Like I'd be like, I don't know what Sean does. Sean writes, Sean talks, she's smart. I mean, like, so I really rock with Sean, and I appreciate like really wanting to show up in a way that like highlights everything that we're doing and highlights a lot of people who like who have it but don't get on that stage, that metaphorical stage I've been talking about for the last 5 minutes. So yeah.
Facts. Shout out to Sean all day because yo, that what you had said about feeling seen, that they got something special going on with that because that's true and like creating that platform with the blockchain of I feel like a lot of us art that was my first write up as an artist and being
Yeah.
featured and highlighted like that and that things like that being able having opportunities like that to share your story and share what you're about that opens doors in like in just internally like within you like you start to show
Yeah.
up like more confidently.
Yeah, like yo, I'm interviewed up. What you mean? I'm
Yeah,
written about. Are you for real? Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Google
I
me
got
real
you.
quick, fam. Go ahead and hit a Google search real quick, my G.
Let
To
him
go.
know.
Yeah.
Type me up. Type me up. And like, it's crazy because like we never know who's watching us, right? But we know that like somebody has to take a first chance on us. And Sean has always done that. And then what ends up happening is someone somewhere else goes, yo, I read that blockchain interview. You're pretty dope. I saw the work, da da da. And you're like, you couldn't have interviewed me before you read that if you thought I was fire. And so like you really gotta understand like there's a level of taste there too. Like to be able to like find the people first. Yeah, you definitely need to get Sean on because I need to know what Sean actually does.
I'm working on it. I'm most definitely. I'm definitely working on it because I got the same question. I'm like, but you're right. Like anything that Sean's hands is in is like, yo, wow,
Yeah,
what?
high quality.
It's super high quality, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shout out to Sean. All right, last two questions here for you, Black Dave. What does culture mean to you?
Oh, because I'm always thinking about nonsense. I actually have a formula about culture that I'm working on like I have this idea for putting out like presentations. Like, you know how like you have like a keynote presentation somewhere and you're like the main speaker somewhere, you have all these slides and shit. So I have a version of this called Web3 has a culture problem. And it's essentially like I would give a talk and I have all these slides that match it. And so one of the things in it is it says culture equals context plus content. And so like if you think about that algebraically, I don't want to get too crazy, but since someone can come back and listen to it or whatever, like if you think about it algebraically, right? Culture minus context is just content. Culture minus content is just context, right? This is just like, moving to the other side of the equal sign kind of vibes, right? And so culture has to be made at the intersection of context about a specific thing and content that can show that thing to other people. And that creates a culture, right? Because culture requires other people. And if I'm into something by myself, it doesn't matter unless there's content around it that other people can consume to get into that culture. And so I think that culture is a combination of content plus context. And that's essentially what my whole slideshow presentation speech is about, is this idea that like the first slide says like what is something that every Bored Ape Yacht Club holder likes, every single one. And there's not a thing that all of them like because it's just content, right? It's not, there's no context to it besides all of them being in the NFTs, which I guess is the context, but it's not really context, right? Like there's a million fucking NFTs. Why that one? And so, and it's like, if y'all all like money, cool. But that wasn't what happened at the time. And so I think I say the same thing about CryptoPunks. Kind of like I lead it with that. Like, what do all these people who have this thing have in common? And that tells me why Web3 is broken, because people aren't buying shit for the context of it. So now the content exists, the ape, but the context doesn't exist. Because like, why the fuck do I care that I want to own a thing that is about a bunch of monkeys who are so good at trading stocks that they have a yacht club? Like, that's stupid. That doesn't mean anything. Like, I'm looking at this 90cc collection right now and I don't want to go too deep, but like, what's it about? Like, who is this for? Like, I don't see anything. And so like, to me, like 90cc is content, but there's no context. there was context when it was just a black t-shirt, right? Because the context was the tech. But now that you're trying to make real clothes, you got to have real context. So, yeah, that's what culture means to me. I know that's really like academic, but it helps me a lot when I'm thinking.
Yo, cook. We could have a whole separate conversation about those those three things that you just mentioned: Bored Apes, CryptoPunks, and this 90cc situation. Because same, I mean, and as people of culture, when we see these things, we have these sorts of questions of like
Yeah, immediately.
ASAP. I'm
Like,
like,
who's this for?
dog,
Yeah,
literally.
what is this? Why? Like, why that? Like, what is that? Yeah, why'd you do that? Like, yeah, you're not by yourself. I definitely like, um, I was watching anime and stuff this morning, so I didn't want to go on like a Twitter rant before this because I hate when I have some shit going on and then I throw out a tweet that randomly becomes a banger and overrides the important thing that I said earlier that day. So like I didn't want to like go off and then people be like into it or whatever. And I it's kind of pretentious or whatever to be like, yo, I'm about to throw out a banger tweet, but like what if, right? Like, and so I'm always like, if I'm about to throw out a hard opinion, I gotta make sure that like I'm not busy, you know? And so that's really what it is.
Yo, to speak to that a little bit, are you familiar with the app called Yup?
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't. I'm new to that, and
I've been on it.
I be feeling the same way though. Sometimes I'm like, dang, I kind of want to throw this out there, but like I'm trying to show this artwork, this drop that I got going on. Kind of, so I'll
Yeah.
schedule it though. I'll schedule it for like,
Oh, you'll schedule the mad tweet like, yo,
oh,
I'm mad right now, so y'all gonna notice in like 3 days.
yup, and I'm gonna send it out there, and it's not even necessarily the mad tweet, but the one that I think might be a banger and might like stir up some
Yeah.
conversation a little bit. I'd be like, I'm gonna keep it and I'm gonna save it in the tuck, but I gotta stay focused on this
Yeah.
right here.
I gotta sell this artwork.
Yo, facts, big facts. Yo, I like I'm holding back into getting into this conversation about culture with what we were just talking about. So let me get into the
No, you got it.
man, the last question here for you, Black Dave. How do you define legacy, and what do you want your legacy to be?
Um, so I've been watching this anime. Oh god, what anime was it? Well, so they were talking about, and I know this isn't the exact word, but they were talking about how like someone is like legendary when they're done, there's no one who can replace them, right? Like like you're really legendary when you die or whatever, exit the scene, let's use that. But your presence hasn't been able to be replicated, right? Um I really resonate with that. I definitely want to create a presence that's really hard to replicate, but can still inspire a lot of people. I think like we think a lot about like a lot of the quote unquote greats and how we'll never be as great as them, but there are so many people pursuing that same greatness. And I appreciate that. Like Michael Jordan or like Kobe Bryant or LeBron James, right? Like a lot of people want to be the next Jordan, but to be the next Jordan, you gotta do some things. And to be the next Kobe, to be the next LeBron, you gotta do some things. Like this man's, 40 playing like 18-year-olds. So it's like, I'm a Lakers fan, by the way, but like I'm not a LeBron fan. I'm a Lakers fan. I just want to make that clear. I'm a Lakers fan. I was LeBron. I was a Lakers fan before. I'm gonna be a Lakers fan after. But um, like I think for me, I'm really trying to figure out a way to like leave a stamp that can't be covered or can't be written over while also inspiring the next generation. So for me, it's really about, and it's really funny because this I feel like is part of the same legacy that the people who inspire me are putting out is like I want people to be able to win by being themselves to the max, right? Like if you look at Pharrell and in skateboarding before it was cool and the types of beats he was making before they were cool. If you look at Kanye and the whole pink polo thing and even like the type of music he makes, or you look at Virgil and like the repurposing of polo, or you look at Tyler the Creator and like how his whole message is like do what you want. Don't worry about whatever other people are into. Like, Kid Cudi, et cetera, et cetera. Like for me, like I want to continue that story because those are the people who inspire me. And then I hope that someone can look to me as a continued example of that. So whenever I exit the scene in whatever version that looks like, whether it is my passing or me retiring from whatever bullshit I do in life, like I hope that someone can say, yeah, I saw Black Dave and that made me really want to do this. I saw Black Dave and I'm really inspired to be myself. Like if I can become a millionaire off of rapping about anime, that's really a goal, right? Like if I can become famous or whatever from like designing clothes that have anime characters on them or whatever, anybody can do whatever the fuck they want, and that's really my goal. And so like I hope that like whenever I exit the scene, I'm just keep saying that. Like whenever I exit the scene, someone sees what I did and uses that as fuel for what they do, and we can continue pushing that story forward because I think what inspired me might inspire others, and the same way that you know what inspired me came from someone who was probably trying to inspire others. So legacy, I guess, looks like that for me.
I love that answer. Black Dave, you are already doing an incredible job of leaving that legacy. And thank you again for joining us here on Culture Shift. We appreciate your time. We honor you as an artist, and just appreciate all that you do, and just like the innovator and the pioneer that you are. Like you be going into the deep waters, and we're like, hey, is Dave okay over? He good? Okay, we can go check it out now. All right, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
And so
I
just
gotta write a whole mirror post about it before anybody understands what's happening, but we gonna get there.
absolutely, we're already on our way. Black Dave, appreciate you, fam. Thank you all again
Yes.
for tuning in to Culture Shift. If you joined on the live stream, we got some folks in the Twitter space. I gotta shout out Natalie Crew real quick. Who else we got in here? Ragdoll, TK, Blackchain has been here for
Yes.
a minute. We had Boss Logic in here. We had Onaji
Yeah.
fam in here. Just appreciate y'all
Gang
for
shit. Gang shit. They
seriously.
a lot of the Black Dave token community. I wanna shout y'all out. So shout out to y'all.
Shout
They're
out.
probably talking about me in the chat right now, but I'm trying not to look at my phone. So
Yeah, go definitely go check out all of Black Dave's work. Like, yo, he be in the streets, okay? You heard it here. He be in the streets, and he's leaving his mark on this space and just in the art world in general. Thank you again. We will be back on Friday with Natalie Crew.
Natalie,
We got Natalie Crew
let's
joining. This is
go.
a big week. This is a big, big, big week. Oh my goodness. Glory to God. Thank you, Jesus. Seriously, man. Just like showing up and showing out. Answering the prayer one time for the one time. Thank you. All right, y'all. Thanks again for joining. And be on the lookout for this being archived on the blockchain. And yeah, stay hydrated, stay blessed. Catch you on the next episode. Peace. Thanks again, Black Dave.
Yes.